Welcome to Marketing Matters with Wheel Media. It is my pleasure to have with us today Travis Russell, one of our closest partners for print, mail, and all things in between. Strategic Marketing Solutions, SMS marketing. Travis, thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll just bet, having been in this industry for a while, print advertising or mail, direct mail, has changed a lot in the last 10 years, let alone the last 20. And with the advent of digital marketing and digital media, some might think that print and mailers are obsolete, but that's not true, is it?
No, not in the slightest. A lot of the statistics and stuff that are out there that are pulled through various sources, even through like Google's own analytics and stuff, show the return on direct mail is higher than like any others. It's just because it costs more to send it out. You usually send out less emails and online and stuff. So, but it has a better percentage of return than I believe like any other source out there. So, and I can get into some of the reasons why as we go.
Yeah, let's explore some of those. It is definitely not obsolete. It has its place. It has a good return. I learned firsthand the value of direct mail when one of my clients opened what we refer to as a de novo. That's when a dentist opens the door, not having purchased a practice, and just having leased the equipment and the space, relies heavily on marketing to build a practice, and it's possible. It's possible with digital marketing today to actually do that. Now, that wouldn't have been possible 30 years ago with just direct marketing. But it's possible today with digital marketing and social media and everything else we can throw at it. But there's still a very important element of a new practice opening up. That print mail and direct mail has a very important place in the success of that practice. Have you experienced that as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anybody that's really looking to gain quick traction with a fresh startup, or if you're even taking over an existing practice and just want to notify all the patients right away, sending a letter and stuff to them can be a very quick and effective way to let them know of the transfer. But if it's a fresh startup, or if you're just trying to look, let's say, you've had your practice for 20 years and you've never had to market in the past, but with dentists now working later into their lives because the way the economy is and everything, people are finding that got to keep going. So there's more dentists lasting longer. There's new ones coming out of the schools, and I don't know, there's more and more dentists out there. So you're competing for those new patients in your area. Having a really fast reaction, direct mail is a very quick way to be seen in a targeted way in the areas around you. Like digital ads are great. Websites, SEO, that takes a while. It's going to take you, 4 to 6 months, to start getting up higher on the search engines and stuff. But, with AdWords or targeted digital ads, you can start getting seen right away. But you're on sources that are flooded with a lot of ads, and there's not quite as much emotion attached to the advertising, not through digital means, that it is through print. That's a huge saying, tying emotion with your advertising, because it makes it more memorable. You remember things that have emotion tied to it a lot more. I'm not saying like, oh, a direct mail piece is going to start making you cry and make you super happy, but United States Postal Service, they do their surveys and different things to try to figure out, the importance of direct mail so they can, lead their marketing and their analytics in a certain direction. But pulling some of those numbers, you start seeing that people actually look forward to, like, not everybody, but most people look forward to actually going out and getting their mail, taking time and looking at it and stuff. And I pulled some statistics for that are pretty interesting through the United States Postal Service, their own studies. One is 98% of houses bring in the mail on the same day that it's delivered. 77% percent of people sort through it immediately. Some people hold on to it, let it sit for a little bit, and kind of maybe do it on certain days and stuff. But most of the average people spend about 20 minutes or so reading it. 67% feel mail is more personal than the internet. 65% of people feel it more personal because you're sending something to them. Now you are digitally, but because I think the digital thing just they blast out so much, and direct mail it can be a little bit like that too on your saturation and stuff, but it is a physical piece that you're kind of giving to them versus something that they're just mindlessly kind of swiping through and stuff. There's a little bit more emotion involved with something that they feel that is personally sent to them. Maybe it even has their name on it, which is something that you can do as well with direct mail is personalizing each different one with variable data postcards and stuff. 48% of people read the mail to relax. I don't know if I depends on what you get in the mail, right? If you're getting bills, I don't know if you're relaxing too much. But some people like to just read things to kind of settle down from the day or take their mind off and stuff. But anyways, and then 38% use the mail to stay informed. Those are just a couple of statistics from some of their stuff. But some of the stuff I did find curious is, Google's one of the largest tech giants out there. They are all about tech, but they still use direct mail to reach out to their people and future customers too. So why would people, or like a company that's literally solely built on a digital platform and digital marketing, use direct mail? Because they know it works.
That's a good point. When they installed Google Fiber, I learned about it through a postcard, through direct mail. I didn't find it in my email or anything digitally. And it was short, concise, colorful, to the point, and I learned everything that I needed to learn in less than 3 seconds.
You just pulled up a memory that you remember getting something from Google on that. Now, if that would have been told to you like, hey, Google's coming out with this through a online ad, I doubt your mind might have been able to even pull up that image or that thing, because you could even still describe the piece. And that's kind of the power. Now, should you only do direct mail? No. I don't think you should only do direct mail. I don't think you should only do digital because they really work so well together. The digital part will get you repetition at a lower price. You'll be able to hit them more often, more frequently, and that helps, just touching base as much as you can and getting those impressions in front of them is key. But if you really want them to remember you and have emotion tied in with the marketing itself, hitting them also with a direct mail piece tied in with the digital reminders and stuff of it is best and most strongest way to get that.
Which would suggest that if direct mail is in fact that successful, if used correctly, that graphic art is essential.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about your graphic artist.
As far as like the graphic designs or different things we do now with me, we recently moved from Oregon to Arizona and had a couple employees there. But since moving back, I actually do everything myself.
See, that's what I was thinking. I knew you were talented in that way.
Yeah. I mean, I create a really personal like relationship with the customers that I have. I give them a phone number. They can reach out to me anytime if they have questions or, hey, Travis, I got this project. I need this to be in this newspaper. I need the ad today or tomorrow or something like that. And typically not going to find people that will do it where I will literally, go, okay, we can get that, get me all the details, and I'll work late that night just so I can kind of do that.
I've seen your work, so I know what you're capable of, and I didn't realize you were doing even the graphic art on your own. That's impressive. That's impressive. But you understand the importance of the design in order to capture that memory and their attention to achieve the ROI you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly, and stuff. So if you do ever have, or if anybody that sees this is doing a startup or anything, and they need everything from the ground up, if they need a logo designed, if they need all their stationery, their forms, business cards, envelopes, letterhead, anything that they would need, even promo items and stuff, I can help design it, print it, ship it right to you. kind of thing, and get them from the ground up.
That's why we've come to rely on SMS, because that's not our area of specialty. Our area of specialty is digital marketing. We've been known to do a few logos, but boy, when you do a logo, it's so fast and it's so good. It's not something we really want to compete with. So you've made it look so easy because it is for you.
I understand. Everybody always, when they think dentist, they think, oh, they're rich. I've met, doing this for like 17 years now. I've met so many dentists, and how I got kind of started in this and going to, implant seminars, and, just a lot, being tied in with different networking groups and stuff. And they don't, especially startups, they have so much upfront cost stacked onto them. And sometimes, it's not the best business decision, because a lot of times I end up doing a lot of the design work and stuff for free, because I know that they're going to use me to print the service, or the stuff that we would create for them, or use me for direct mail and down the road. And so to try to ease up some of their costs on, because there's a lot of like companies out there for a full branding thing, it might be like 3 or 4 grand, where I go, hey, I'll do your logo for like $100, and it's not $100 logo. These look like good, good, and crisp logo and all everything, and the branding package, putting all that stuff together for super cheap, if sometimes not even free, just because I know first off they need it, but just for a little bit of help at the beginning and stuff with all the other costs that they have, but just to, I don't know, like, because I know that they'll keep using me. I build up a little reciprocity, I guess, with them.
Well, you may not charge much for your logos, but I can tell you, having seen your logos, they are not $100 logos. They are well designed, very professional, and I love your style. What should a budget be for someone? Let's say, de novo aside, let's say a doctor would just like to have a shot in the arm with an influx of new patients and give direct mail a try. What should he spend, and how long should that budget go to see a good return, and what should that return be?
Well, honestly, once you turn on that spigot, I don't think you should turn it off. I think you should always just have that awareness going. But I would say, the average direct mail campaign size would be, you'd print up 15, 20,000 mailers, and do 5,000 mailers per month, depending on how many new patients you're needing or wanting. Um, there's a lot of clients that I have will mail out 10,000 every month. They'll do like 5,000 every 2 weeks, just to have a nice system where we pull, let's say, the closest, 30 or 40,000 households around them. And you just start getting them, in quadrants or slices of a pie. And so that you can keep just going back to them, so that it repeats back to the same houses once every 3 to 4 months on a repetition.
A rotating demographic focus.
Then you can kind of tie in, okay, we got a great response this month, where are they hitting? Now that's not always super accurate, because people tend to hold on to mailers for sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year. People be like, hey, I just had Travis, are you still sending out mailers? I just had a person, call us and bring in a mailer, and it's been like a year.
It goes on the fridge
A long time.
behind that magnet, and a year
Yep.
seems like a day.
Yeah.
But that's who they're calling when they have a toothache or when they have a need. They feel like they've got a connection there.
Yeah, yeah, they have that, and typically it's, because of the incentive that might be on the card, that's like, hey, come in, find out what's wrong, for free exam and X-rays, or discounted, in one way or another, so that it eases up their decision on how much is it going to cost to find out if I even like this doctor, if I like this practice. Is it a nice place? Does it smell weird? Or are the people weird? Or are they likable and stuff? And so they don't want to spend a whole lot of money to find out if they're going to like the place or not. But they will once they discover, hey, I like this place. They will spend the money to fix the problem.
The return has been decent then for your clients to continue to.
Oh yeah, my longest client, 15 years that they've been doing mail for that whole time. It's the Corbins up in New York. They're the freaking coolest. I have a good connection with them as well and stuff. They know they can call me up at any time and stuff. To go off your question a little earlier, what would people budget? If you're sending out 5,000 mailers in a saturation style, because there's different ways that you can hit the areas around you, how you can target the households. But if you're doing the cheapest way possible, that's going to be like a saturation style mailer where you're going to aim at specific carrier routes, and you can still kind of target carrier routes based on income level and distance from your office to try to avoid the really, I don't know, you could say like poor areas or people that wouldn't be able to afford treatment. And so you can set certain benchmarks and stuff. But if you're looking to send out 5,000 S with saturation, that's about 40 cents a mailer. That's printing, postage, labeling, the mailing list, the design, everything. And that is going to be so about $2,000 to send out 5,000 mailers, the typical budget. Now, there are ways, because there could be people listening going, oh man, I only pay like 21 or 22 cents a piece for my mailer. Well, if that's the case, because I mean, postage itself for a direct mail piece is about 22 cents a piece. So you're not going out, you're piggybacking on others. It means that your mailer is getting stuffed into either like the clipper or like a marriage mail piece where it's got to have a lot of other things stacked with it, and it goes to the house. And it's a good way to get your mailers out, but it's a little bit impersonal. You're going to show up with like 20 or 30 other things all stacked together, and instead of being a solo piece where it's a postcard by itself that might show up with one or two other bills that they might get from other sources or something or other things, but it's not going to be from that specific company that's sending out a ton of things at one time to get that postage knocked down. So there's cheaper ways to do that, and I even offer some of those, but I typically don't like the return on those because they're not quite as good. Again, you can send out almost twice as many. So there's a lot of options that I have for doing direct mail pieces, whether it's variable data postcards, the marriage mail, or just like the straight up solo postcards to saturation. But if it's a company, let's say it's a pediatric dentist that only wants to mail to households with children ages 3 to 18 or 3 to 10 or anything like that, or you're a person that likes to just focus on all on four implant cases, like the big cases and stuff out there, and you only want to mail to people that are 55 years and older that make $100,000 or more, I can get very targeted lists. And it just, when you mail like that, the postage itself goes up about 10 cents a piece. And then you're also having to pay a little bit more for the list. Everything else is the same in cost. But so you'd be looking at maybe, 55 cents a piece for a targeted mailer versus 40 cents. But those are going to have the best return because it's very specific. You're not kind of shotgunning out. So the return percentage might be a little bit better, but you're not sending out the same numbers and stuff. So
Yeah, and every area is going to be different as to how many new patients you're going to see from any given mailing. It's going to vary. But if it wasn't giving dentists a return, we wouldn't be doing it, right?
oh, exactly, and stuff. And that's where I think direct mail just comes into play, is doing it with the right type of knowledge. I mean, mainly I have only done mailers for dentists for the 17, 18 years of doing this, is mainly focused on dentists. So I know through lots of trial and errors throughout the years and stuff what tends to work the best and what doesn't, as far as incentives to put on or what the mailer to look like, areas to hit, what to kind of avoid. And I do have other services as well that do tie in little aspects of digital. I don't do what you guys do as far as stuff through Google and stuff like that, but I have a program that allows me to retarget the same houses. So like when a mailer goes out to an area and let's say it hits these 5,000 households over here, well, that mailer is only going to give them one impression. Now they can hold on to it and it can sit on the table and they can keep seeing it and stuff or whatever, but that mailer's that one impression, and the majority of people will probably throw it away due to timing or whatever and stuff. But what I do have is a program that allows me to take that same list of 5,000. I run it through a program. It pulls up their social media accounts, and it allows me to create ads that look similar to the message and the looks of the mailer. And then I can retarget those houses for 30 days through their social media, through Instagram and Facebook. And when they click that ad, it leads them to their website. So it ramps up the I mean, there was one I was looking at earlier today where in 30 days it had 635 people that had clicked that ad and led them to the website.
Which proves that that direct mail offered some brand recognition on that additional layer that made the social media campaign even more effective.
Yeah, exactly. So it turns that one impression into about 12 to 16 impressions in 30 days. And then when they click it and they go to the website, it puts a tracker on their computer so that when they are done surfing that website and they go somewhere else, Google sidebar ads will follow. It's not always, but it also will sometimes pop up a little ad in like the Google sidebar areas.
You reminded me of something I haven't thought of for a long time, but 30 years of, actually more than 30, of consulting and coaching dentists and their practices and teams. I've seen a lot of things. And I remember having more than one client that found a lot of success with those refrigerator magnets.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't do it in a flyer, but you have to actually do a mailing. And what they found repeatedly was that people had a really hard time not opening it because it was heavier, so they could
Yeah.
tell something was in there.
Yeah.
And two, they couldn't throw away the magnet. They'd throw away the envelope and the paper. They can't throw away the magnet. So it would go on their refrigerator. And
think
I was amazed at how many people were calling the dentist a year and two later because of that magnet.
Well, yeah. I mean, they say like on average, you go to the refrigerator like, I don't know, I forget what it was. It was like 13 times a day or something like that. So you're constantly seeing their advertising. I think there's even direct mailers that where I can design a magnet that actually gets like a little adhesive strip put on, and it can go onto a mailer and go out to the houses and stuff. So, because I've seen that product in some of the print companies and stuff that I've used, and so if anybody's ever interested in something like that, that is a possibility to be able to send out a mailer with a magnet just right on it.
It's interesting how in our high-tech environment today, low-tech can still get a lot of attention.
Oh yeah.
We don't have to move away from it completely. We can add to it. And having seen that work as well as I have, I can promise you that if I was a dentist opening shop, or if I needed a shot in the arm with new patients in my community, there's no question I would make an investment in that. No question.
Yeah, it's a good little source to be able to put yourself in a permanent way in somebody's house.
So let's say a dentist does a mailer. How can you track the effectiveness of that mailer?
So that's one thing is it's really hard to track the result. What I can do is I can put a call tracking number onto the direct mail piece. So if you have like my area code is a 480, my prefix here is like 223. What I can do is I can go through my call tracking company that I use. I white label through a company called marchex.com to do all the call tracking numbers. I don't try to make a profit off of that. It usually costs me about $15 a month to add a line onto a mailer. I don't try to make money on it, so I just go, hey, if you want something like that, it gives you a dashboard where you can sign in. I just charge like $15 a month just so it covers that cost. But it'll give you a dashboard where you can sign in. You can say, okay, how many people called this number? Because the only place that number is going to be is on that direct mail piece. It's not anywhere else out in the public, because they make sure that the line is clean for 30 days. Nobody calls it for 30 days, and then it's number. And then you can put that number, I forward it to the office. The second somebody calls that number, it automatically just dials the office number, and it'll record the phone call. So you can use it as a training tool. Like, okay, hey, we had 30 calls come in and only 5 people like scheduled or came through. So why don't we listen to some of those calls and just find out how we can, it's not to get anybody in trouble. It's just, hey, listen to yourself and let's see how you could answer these questions better. Because sometimes maybe you're just talking too much. Maybe you just need to lead them to the appointment book, get them through, and let the doctor kind of do his thing. And so that is probably one of the only ways to track a saturation direct mail piece, because I can get a form from the post office that's called a 3602 form that will show here's how many pieces were given to the post office to be able to be delivered to the area. Because it's like a cheaper postage way and stuff, there's no confirmation, hey, this actual piece got to the house. And then once they actually come through the door of the practice, I don't know what they end up doing and stuff as new patients. I don't know if they start doing, unless I tried to get a report for everything to try to really find the exact ROI. I think that's mostly done. Well, and I don't, I wouldn't have the time to do it anyways. I'm pretty busy with design and all the other stuff, but there's no real way to track it beyond like a call tracking number for like the saturation mailers and stuff like that.
So if someone wanted to do the call tracking in addition to the mailer and do the recording, is that a lot extra? What are we talking there in the way of an investment?
Oh, just like I said, $15 for the call tracking number. And then that would give them access to a dashboard where they could look up their statistics and stuff. Or they could be like, hey, Travis, how many calls did we have from this time to this time on that number? And I can look it up for them and give them that information. But if they ever wanted to look up the recordings and stuff of it, that's just, yeah, like the $15 a month for that call. And that a lot of other companies, if you're like, a lot of people would probably recognize the name like Jay Geyer. He has the Scheduling Institute and stuff, and he charges a ton of money for setting up call tracking, then setting up like the dialogue on how how the phone should be answered, because it's a really crucial thing. But he can charge, I don't know, $50,000 to $100,000 or something like that for a lot of his things. But it's very good, to have that service, and that's so again, I don't really try to make a profit off of providing that type of service for people, but I also don't, try to listen to all the phone calls and grade them. And
That's something the practice would obviously need to do on their own. But to just
yeah,
have the ability to do that is something I don't think we connect with direct mail
Yeah.
as an option for evaluating that ROI on direct mail.
Yeah.
Let's say obviously if someone's opening a new practice, they need to have a logo.
Mm-hmm.
And that logo can be pretty important when it comes to brand recognition. But
Yeah.
there are probably a number of practices out there that just feel like their logo is just too stale.
Oh yeah.
And they just need to do that all over again.
or they bought the practice and they're not happy with it, but they don't really switch it. I love doing remakes of logos. If somebody's ever looking to like freshen up their image, kind of, I don't know, update it from what it maybe used to be 20, 30 years ago, and now practice, and they just kind of want to update it and make it more in the times. I love taking people's calls, kind of figuring out what they'd like to do, and then once that logo's made, helping them keep it congruent for everything that they do, all their stationery, that kind of stuff, their forms. They just want it to all be congruent and looking professional and everything. I can help set them up with all that.
So then you keep that on file, and then when they need something else in the way of a business card or something in the way of print,
Yep.
then you've got it ready to go.
Yeah, setting up banners for the outside. If they're ever looking to, I need a big banner, or some kind of sidewalk signs, or just anything, window vinyls and stuff like that. Even if it's a product I don't do, I can still help them with the design part of it.
Right, because of your graphic skills.
Yeah.
Because they could be like, oh, I've got a friend that can print it. I'll be like, all right, then let's get the design put together for you, and I'll get those files over to them and stuff. So whatever I can do to kind of help ease up the workload on the dentist. That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, they've got a lot going on. A lot going on. From Whitehall management to osteo ready implant courses, I mean, from a dental perspective, you have a lot of experience, 18 years. Yeah, your design work is just so respectable and appealing and very compelling.
Yeah. Well, I hope I'm getting better as I go.
I don't know how you come up with new ideas like you do. When you're designing that, the way you're able to lock into a client's thoughts and values and goals for that practice and convert that into a logo is an art. It's an art. It's not something you can teach someone else. And we have come to rely on your artistry and really appreciate it.
I feel the same way about you guys and everything that you guys do as well. You know, I don't like to. I wouldn't even have the time to learn all like the coding and you know setting up all the online digital ads and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I like our system where we kind of help each other out with, you know, here's my strengths, here's your strengths, and let's kind of work together to get them the best product that they can.
In my world, partnerships make that happen. It's all about partnerships. You can't possibly be all things to all people. And when you find a good partner that can deliver like you do for us, you just enjoy that partnership and you do all you can for them.
Well, yeah, I think just once the trust is built, you know, because you can work with businesses all the time and stuff, and even ones that you're like, okay, it was all right, but I think once you like trust a person that you know that they're going to treat the client correctly, or if you're going, you know, that's where it starts making it actually fun.
Your pricing on every one of your products has been so competitive. It's just been a joy to present you to our clients and work together.
Yeah, likewise as well.
Because a dental practice really values their unique contribution, it's hard to use a flyer or a product flyer that is created by someone else, and to be able to create some informational patient education flyers that are unique to you, that may talk about the types of dentistry and services that you offer, is something that they need a relationship with. They need a relationship with someone that can help them with that. Patient education through those flyers is another tangible. I remember doing an AI research on print advertising, and according to AI, it remains effective even in the digital age, offering unique advantages that digital channels cannot fully replace. And categorically, we're talking the tangibility and the credibility of a print piece that digital can't always replicate. It can produce a higher engagement and recall rate.
Yeah.
You've spoken to the targeted reach and how detailed you can get on that targeted marketing and that mailing, the high response rates, plus a reduced digital fatigue. They see the same ad over and over again, and it just becomes a blur.
Yeah, and they're not memorable. You know, you might end up calling based off one, but ask them a day later what the ad looked like that they called from. They'd probably be like, I don't know. But if they get a direct mail piece, a lot of times they can be like, oh, I know exactly, you know, what this dentist, like they might have received your piece 10 times, never called, but they'll know exactly what your piece looks like and even what your name is, so that you're still a viable option later on from just creating that branding in their mind.
And last but not least, the synergy used with digital marketing. And you alluded to that when you spoke about how it can impact social media ads in a way that you can't get without that first hit and first impression in a tangible, visual, high color, glossy impression in the mail.
Yep. Again, it's like you first reach out to them with that physical piece. It has a little bit more emotion tied in with it. It's like, oh, they just gave me something, so you know maybe I need to give them something back. So you pair up that first initial impression that you get with the mailer with, you know, retargeting them, you know, through social media and online and stuff, and you know where you're hitting them 12 times to 16 times a month, and it just makes it that much easier of a choice for them to call you when they can remember.
Yeah, the repetition is critical. You've really helped us understand the value of that emotional connection, which a really good, well-designed graphic ad can in fact evoke to a mind, to a patient's heart, prospective patient's heart, and make all the difference on whether or not they pick up that phone or act on what it is you want them to do.
If you just want to pick my brain, even if you don't use my services, you're like, hey, Travis, I'm thinking of doing this. You know, what would you do based on, you know, whatever? I will gladly take the call and help you out point you in different directions. I've got a lot of sources for a lot of different things.
I think that is another aspect of our partnership, Travis, that we've come to appreciate, because first and foremost, you really do act as a consultant in answering a lot of questions that if someone doesn't live in this world like you do, in direct mail and in design work and graphic arts and mailings like you do, that changes. That's changed a lot over the years. And so being able to use you as a resource from a consulting standpoint is something that we should utilize.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I could definitely hook you up with a lot of different names out there of any type. If you're needing any type of direct mail or graphic design, I'm the one-stop shop for anything that's designed or printed.
Yeah. Design and printed. We'll call it that. Anything you design and print. Whether it be the flyer or that refrigerator magnet, we can do that.
And any type of mailer too, whether it's trifold, brochures. I mean, I've even created full magazines for dental offices, to talk about implants or different things. Anything you're thinking of doing, just reach out, and I can typically give probably some of the best prices for high quality, products and stuff at the end.
So for our listeners who would like to contact you directly, how would you like them to do that?
My email is, it's a little bit lengthy, but it's travis.russell, and that's two L's on the end of Russell, and then .sms@gmail.com. So travis.russell.sms@gmail.com. That's my email, and they can reach out to that. They could go onto my website, which is Strategic Marketing Designs, and designs is plural.com. Fill out the little thing. It'll email me and stuff. But if you're looking just to send a text or give me a call anytime, my cell number is 480-223-7970.
Travis, thank you so much for your time today.